first of our guest speakers, Mr. Yasu Ota, who is a senior writer and columnist from Nikkei. He writes and works for various parts of Nikkei, including the Nikkei Asian Review. He's a very senior, veteran and well-respected journalist. Used to be the correspondent in Washington, D.C., and also the bureau chief in Frankfurt in Germany. He's someone you can always have a great time conversing over sashimi, sake, and Singapore. Yasu, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for the kind introduction. Yes, my name is Yasu Ota. May I sit down? Well, I just flew back from Tokyo a couple of days ago, and every time I travel a lot in Asia, and then this weekend I will fly to Darling, China, Hong Kong, and Tokyo, and come back to Singapore again. And next week I will fly to Bangkok, then Taipei. You know, I'm just traveling around this region because I'm using Singapore as a base of my research activity. But every time I come back to Singapore, like 2 days ago, it was a night flight. I was very tired because I have to fly economy. And it's a Terminal 3, and just stepping out from the aircraft and approaching the immigration, I always feel I'm at home. There's a sense of welcome. The Singapore is welcoming me. Despite I'm a foreigner, I'm a foreign resident here. It's not my home country, but still I feel this place is the place I have to live. You know, even though I spent 1 week in Tokyo last week, and I had a nice time with my family, and my mother and my daughter has started working in the company, so we had a sushi, party and stuff like that. I enjoy the time, but still I feel when I come back here, I feel at home. Why? So this is the big question. And this started from the very beginning since I came here 2 years ago. I have lived, as Buck Song kindly introduced me, I used to live in Boston and Washington as a student and as a correspondent in Frankfurt in Germany. And it takes, let's say, at least 1 year to get used to new life, a new environment and language. And but Singapore was, I would say, the easiest place in the world for me to settle down. It has taken only 1 or 2 months till I started feeling I'm home. So I, as a journalist, I have to find the reason why so. Of course, I know about Singapore, and I had a chance to come to Singapore before I started living here, maybe 4 or 5 times, just a short visit to attend the conference or to have the interview. For example, I interviewed Mr. Nikkei, and I asked about his thought of Brown, so I'll let you know what his answer was. And I thought I knew Singapore, but I still didn't realize what I knew. Then I started asking, as a journalist, what do you think I should do to know the secret of Singapore? Why this place is so comfortable, it's so open to, at least it has a signal and atmosphere to the openness to everybody, and the people are attracted. So that's why it's kind of magnet to gather the money, information, and human resources. That's why this nation is prosperous, right? It's because of the brand. So I asked my question to the Japanese friend who lived here for a long time. And where do you think I should go? And what do you think I should see? So then, naturally, she has taken me to the Marina Bay. All right? And it's beautiful, awesome. Okay, this is a building. But it looks to me, it seems to me, it's kind of the feeling artificial. It's not natural creation. It's something somebody create for the sake in order to stun somebody. This is something different. I had a feeling that, okay, this is very too much expressive. So then I asked him, the other friend, a guy who had lived in Singapore more than 10 years, I guess, and he has taken me to the Halpaville, formerly called Tiger Bar Park, right? And he said, this is the core of Singapore. I am puzzled. I got a puzzle. So this is really weird for Singapore. But anyway, so it's just part of Singapore. And this is, I think he wanted to tell me that this is part of Singapore because he had a room and sort of margin which allows the people to do whatever they want to do. So I don't know much about the person who has built that park, but I feel something, okay, there's a strong willingness behind it. So, and the people appreciate it. And I don't know how they enjoy or dislike it, but it still is a power. But still I didn't know what is the essence or core of Singapore culture, or brand, the real core of the brand, until my nagging feeling has lasted until I saw Buck Song. I think it's about 1.5 years ago. And we talked about brand, and he kindly gave me his, the first version of the book. And all the answer was included in the book. I realized the Malayalam was a creation. Right? And so of course Marina Bay is artificially created, and the Sentosa and everything. And I was amazed that Singapore has done it from the scratch. It's maybe natural for the nations such as Japan, which is 2,000 years old. Naturally, there's a sort of essence of being a not Japanese. When he introduced me at the beginning, I think everybody immediately understood I am a Japanese person. Right? I don't know why you laughing, right? But this happens all the time. Whenever I take the taxi cab, driver started the conversation with me, assuming I'm Japanese, asking what is the price around real estate in Tokyo now, and what is the yen appreciation and stuff like that. So why he didn't ask me if I am Japanese or Chinese or Korean, but he knew that I'm Japanese. Well, I don't like it. Because I want to be multinational, I want to be international like Singaporean. And when I was in the US, I was trying to behave as American, like Japanese American. And in Germany, it's difficult to behave like Germany, but I tried it. I'm so glad to assign to Singapore correspondent because I didn't think that I need to do any effort to pretend anything, because I'm Asian, so all you people are mostly Asian, and probably Indian and Malay is a bit different, but we look alike, so I thought I didn't need to do anything special, but still people say, hey, Japanese, so probably from my outfit was a way of, well, once I just started speaking, you can tell from my accent, but still, naturally some kind of Japanese thing is excluded from my my body, or part from my outfit or something. But when it comes to Singapore, it's hard to tell if you were Singaporean or not. So it's a very difficult country actually, and you are very difficult people to grasp essence and identity. So my research and study continues, and we had a conversation a lot, and your book gave me a lot of answer. So I will go into the detail of the book, but I think for those who haven't read this book yet, you definitely have to read the book. It's a very interesting concept. And I asked the same question to Mr. Lee Kuan Yew about Singapore when he was alive. Actually, it was in Tokyo. He was already weak physically, but his brain was still sharp. And I asked, he was very quiet, very slow, but I asked, what do you think what makes you Singaporean? Something like, I forgot exactly what I used, but then I wanted to know his idea of being Singaporean. of the idea of the nation of Singapore. And he just smiled. Singapore cannot, and this is not exact words, you cannot quote me. But what he said basically is, what makes Singapore is the world. World makes the Singapore, which means without the rest of the world, Singapore cannot be Singapore. Something like that. So I thought, okay, this is an idea of globalization, or being international, being global. And if this is exactly what Japan has to learn. That's what I thought. And my company, Nikkei, is Nikkei, Nihon Keizai Shimbun. It's an economic daily. It has a large circulation, like 3 million in Japan and everywhere in Asia. And recently we have merged Financial Times of UK. I'm sorry about that. The price was incredible. It is, I just checked it, it's 844 British pound, which is about the value of 1.5 billion Singapore dollar. Very expensive, and most of the price, 90% I would say, is goodwill. I mean, intangible assets price. So which means brand. Nikkei spent huge amount of money to get an FT brand. I'm not sure if they have taken advantage of it well, but we have already spent money. So it is valuable. So I wonder how much Mr. Lee Kuan Yew has created for this nation. What price tag can be put on this nation? It's maybe astronomical, incredible. So we are living in the world of branding strategy. So whoever who are engaged in the branding strategy, whatever the products or the merchandise or service or the newspaper, you have to think about Singapore, what Singapore has done. And this is a textbook. I recommend this book to all the Japanese policymakers and corporate manager. And they talked much about brand, but they don't exactly know what they're talking about. So the brand is very difficult to understand, but he is really good to how to say, to make it translate into language and into words. You have a sense of brand, but it cannot really explain. Whenever I speak about to Japanese officials about the Japanese branding strategy, they always say, cool Japan, anime or karaoke, and they call it cool Japan. I'm so tired of hearing this word, cool Japan. Nobody uses cool Japan things in Singapore. Only Japanese say the cool Japan. This is so silly. Singaporean doesn't say Singapore cool, but naturally the people understand Singapore is cool. This is great. So the brand is created by the artist and designer and policymaker. Buck Song has analyzed it and make it into language, translate it into language, and this is everything included in the book. So thank you very much, Mr. San. So I really learned a lot from this book.